Statistically speaking, going to school can be pretty dangerous. Every year, nearly 2,900 children and teens are shot and killed, and nearly 15,600 more are shot and injured. An estimated 3 million American children are exposed to shootings per year. Perhaps the lack of shootings because of the pandemic and virtual learnings is one of the few positives of the last year. Typically, they're in the news so frequently, it's almost become the norm. Well, tonight's story, we cover a school shooting from 2012 in a small Ohio town where the shooter was shockingly proud of his status as killer.
What is this?
This is
gross.
What was it called? It was called The Outcast.
The hint is Outcast today.
This is you're glad that it's a small.
It's gross.
Outcast of the island.
I don't even want to drink it.
Would you like a beer?
Yes.
I made the drink.
Yeah.
You're not insulting me because of the drink. I followed a recipe because the hint was Outcast, and the drink is called The Outcast.
When it comes to giving feedback about food,
It almost tastes like absinthe to me.
well, guess what?
It does have some absinthe in it, but it's
Oh my
amazingly got
God.
it's a drop.
I can it literally tastes nothing but absinthe. to
I'm
me.
afraid of it.
drop.
When I saw it, I was like, this is the only cocktail that I could find.
It's not the worst cocktail we've ever made, but I don't like it. It called for gin, but we didn't have any gin left.
We gotta go hit up Nipatati.
Yeah, we
At their new location.
Yeah. So I actually swapped it with moonshine. Oh, maybe this is a bad idea. Maybe I shouldn't have all these.
It's moonshine and absinthe? What the fuck?
That's a good thing I didn't drink it because I have to drive home tonight. So
moonshine. It's a drop of absinthe.
It's literally a Wednesday.
Or that syrup, which is like the almond syrup, lime juice, and ginger beer. So
womp womp womp. 0 out of 10 stars. Surprise shots. Surprise shots. We don't know what they are because they're a surprise.
passion fruit?
99 pineapples.
Oh.
So when this comes out, it's Thursday. So Nicole, tell us what day it is.
Okay, well, Thursday, February 4th is National Think America. Oh my God, I cannot talk. Let me just.
Think a bear day? Did you say bear cave
That's what
or
I
something?
thought she said.
Wow, this is absinthe and moonshine.
This episode, Nicole ends up on the bathroom floor.
Yeah. It is National Thank a Mail Carrier Day.
Oh, I have that on my calendar, actually.
See? Legit holiday.
Does that
It
include Amazon employees too?
It technically does not. It is
Because
for
they're
postal service workers.
I've been watching a lot of Curb Your Enthusiasm lately, and there's an episode in the later season where Larry David dates his mail carrier.
Oh.
I love that show. I think it's the dumbest show, but it's like one of the funniest shows at the same time.
It is a funny show.
It's
But there is a different day in, I believe it's in July, that is all mail service.
So that holiday is brought to you by Nicole and her new podcast, Every Day's a Holiday. Thank you all so much for everyone that subscribed so far. You can find it on any of the podcasting apps. We got a lot of new subscribers on that. A lot of downloads. Thank you guys so much. It's a daily podcast, and each episode's only a few minutes, 2-3 minutes.
Yeah. It's a little snack for you to get you started every morning.
Yeah.
you know,
and I schedule them to come out right at 6:30. So
nice. Well, before you get to work.
Yeah, before you get to work. So
I do want to, because this is coming out on Think a Mail Carrier Day, officially say thank you to our mail carriers. Including, isn't Whitney a mail carrier?
Mm-hmm. We
so
do.
thank
I
you,
know
Whitney.
we have some listeners that are, yeah.
Yeah, some of our listeners are mail carriers, and I really do appreciate you because you guys have to deliver the mail no matter what the weather is. So, like back home in the snow, they don't get a day off. They still have to carry the mail.
That's right.
You know what?
And what a crazy year that they've all been through delivering mail. I know Christmas was crazy. Then you had mail-in ballots with the election. Man, oh man, of all years.
Thank you.
yeah, Whitney, she listens to our podcast while she's delivering mail.
That's right.
Yes.
So if you ever get mail that's all banged up, it's probably because I said something stupid, and she's like, fucking asshole.
Damn it, John.
So the hint is Outcast. So Nicole, where are we going? Who are we killing? And you're probably not going to get it. This is not the best hint, but let me give you a sub hint. The killer was an outcast, and in a lot of interviews.
That was literally going to be my guess.
Yeah, that was. You just like took our guess away from us, dude.
Well, you can still guess other shit. What did he do?
He was an outcast.
I had to think hard about that.
Did he throw someone off a skyscraper or what? I mean, you could guess other things.
Well, no, that was what I was going to say.
Yeah.
I was going to say in this story, the killer's going to be outcasted for his crimes.
Okay, the other.
I was going to say he was already like a social outcast.
Well, that's the case in a lot of killers.
Did it.
Okay,
Yeah.
so the other hint that I could give you, which would make a lot of sense, but really wouldn't make sense for this podcast, is killer.
He's a fan of the Killers, the rock band.
Oh yeah, I forgot about them. You know, their music's actually really tough to play on guitar.
It's very good. I really do enjoy the Killers, especially their first album.
Yeah.
All right, tonight we are going here, and if you're new here, welcome. I put all my sources for tonight's episode on talkmurder.com. You can go there and follow along with us. Just click on the blog post. You'll see it front and center if there's a new episode. You can also search for the number of the episode to see all the photos and stuff of that nature. And we are going back and currently trying to fill in all the older episodes. So please be patient. We are also putting this on YouTube. We're live streaming this right now. We're in front of the cameras, and I have a full presentation set up. So go to youtube.com, type in Talk Murder to Me, and you will see this video if you want to follow along. Either way, we're happy to have you guys, our new subscribers. So thank you so much for joining us. So for you guys on YouTube, I got the Google Earth video. And tell me what state we're in real quick. Try to get it. What was that?
Ohio.
Nice. We're going to...
Oh my God, she just got off on that.
Yeah.
She literally
Nailed it. Knew that
was
state.
all excited about that. I don't think I've ever seen her that excited about anything and except
I
for
zoomed
geography.
out because last time you guys were complaining about there was no borders.
Yeah, that's right.
So we're
I
going
would have
to
failed
the...
otherwise.
We're going to the top right half of Ohio.
High school.
There you go. High school. Very good. But anyway, this is where we're going to tonight. 151 Chardon Avenue, Chardon, Ohio, 44024, February 27th, 2012. It was a Monday. Does anybody know this story? The killer of tonight's episode, his name is T.J. Lane. Any takers on that?
No, I know we were juniors that year, 2012 of February.
Doesn't
Juniors.
in college.
Oh, I was about to say.
Doesn't
So
sound
look at
familiar.
that tree. I saw that tree. It's all painted and
it's
stuff.
striped, like Freddy
Stripes.
Krueger.
Yeah, so this is Chardon High School, and I'm kind of going through on Google Earth for the YouTube guys to show them the area. It's a pretty decent
That's
neighborhood.
a big campus.
It's definitely Ohio. Ohio's got a
lot of farmland.
to me at least. It's very distinct. Like if I feel like if you show me any landscape of Ohio,
You can tell it's Ohio.
yeah.
Interesting.
Usually because
that's an interesting skill to have. I wonder if you have that for other states.
I don't know, West Virginia, yeah, because the
Mountain Dew mouth.
yeah. I was going to say
you can
that.
see it from Google Earth.
We're
People
gonna
from West Virginia fucking hate us.
we're gonna wake up to a riot of like torches and pitchforks, and it's gonna be on a day that I sleep over here, and I'm gonna be involved too.
Hey, I'm from South Carolina. All right, we have the lowest SAT test scores in the nation.
You're making that statistic
No,
up.
I think it is second worst in the country. Not in SAT scores, but
Second
in,
worst, but not the worst.
I believe it's also the second worst in drunk driving accidents.
Second worst, but not the worst.
Yeah.
What's the worst?
If you're not first, you're last.
What's the worst?
I want to say it's
Mississippi.
Alabama or Mississippi.
yeah,
one of
Mississippi.
those
Yeah,
two.
it's Southern State. We all down here, something wrong with us.
Well, there's just a different way of thinking.
Maybe I'm just not going to go there. Never mind.
Nicole, can you read this? This headline and subheadline is from the Springfield News Sun, the 28th of February, 2012. The event happened on the 27th, so this is the day after.
School violence rocks Ohio town. Chardon, residents of the small Cleveland area city, are mourning today after a fatal attack inside their high school.
So have you guys heard of this story?
I have not.
Yeah, isn't it crazy?
Well, this happened. Well, no,
Well,
this
it's 2012.
is before. Yeah, 2012. I don't recall this story.
That means there's a lot of school shootings that are going on. That's what I'm trying to say.
Well, yeah, no, I was just about to say, like,
I mean, this is like an epidemic, man.
It is an epidemic. It's a problem. You don't hear about every single school shooting. If you look at the number for school shootings, it over the past years, there's so many of them. You couldn't
crazy.
Possibly hear about all of them.
It
You
is.
know?
Yeah, what the hell?
I remember.
Like you hear about one or two, and like Sandy Hook, obviously,
Yeah, I
stuff
remember
like
that one very vividly. That was our
The
senior
shooter
year.
actually was related
Adam Lanza.
to. He was related to someone who went to Quinnipiac, who was friends with one of my friends.
And I'm going to do that story eventually.
I don't know if I could
God.
sit through that. That's a little close to home because that
I mean,
happened. It
dude,
happened close to Quinnipiac.
It doesn't matter. Like I get it. I'm really interested in like the Aurora story we just did. Like the guy was going to school for neuroscience. Like I'm interested in that stuff.
It's interesting.
I mean,
just
it's
sad.
tragic. It's
just
and no one
hard.
else is covering this stuff, man. Like I'm the only podcast that's covered this one. And you don't even hear about it. Like, why didn't you hear about it?
I don't know.
What else was
That's
going
what
on
I'm
in
saying.
2012?
It's like, no, it doesn't matter. It's like there's so many school shootings.
It's expected. Like you would know. Like, all
right.
It's like there's always going to be one. In
Okay, so
It sounds terrible.
one
but-
of the teachers in tonight, which I'll talk about, actually, after the shooting started happening, he put on a bulletproof vest to go and try to save the students.
Wow.
Dude, I mean, this is worse than you guys think. And there's no news about this, man. This is a school shooting. Multiple people died, and no one knows about this. And this only
that's
happened
awful.
8 years ago. There's like 10 a year or something.
We have to go through active
Crazy,
shooter
man.
training every year at school
I
to
do
make
too.
sure that we know the protocols. And even though you could be in that training, but like I can't imagine being in that situation. You know, even though they make you think about that situation for 45 minutes every year, it's not something that, you know, is at the forefront of your brain every day.
But here's the problem with that. Like, the school shooter is also in that training. You know what I'm saying? So what's the point?
Well, unless
Like,
it's a student.
the student is also in that training. That's what I'm saying.
No,
What do you mean? The eventual school shooter is also taking that training
no,
with
they're
you.
not.
Students don't take the trainings.
Students don't take that training.
Really?
That's interesting.
Oh, that's weird.
Well, the teachers are responsible for, you know,
Telling the students
giving
what to do.
direction. to
No,
the students.
Dave Chappelle said that his son took that training.
Well, that's in Ohio. This is South Carolina.
Oh, okay.
I don't think it's
I don't
part of the
know.
curriculum. I mean, I could be wrong. And someone, if I'm wrong, please correct me. But I don't believe that our students have to take that unless they take it in their high school one-on-one class that's new.
I do remember in high school being told what we would do.
Yeah, like in a fire drill.
lockdown situation.
Well,
we
yeah.
did lockdown drills.
But they don't have to sit through a 45-minute training about it and hear about Columbine
But then
and
again,
Sandy
this was-
Hook and
But
all
they
that stuff.
should, man. Like,
should. You're
I mean,
right.
there's a lot of talk on this story and others like it. Should the parents tell their kids about the story? Well, why the fuck not? You're like basically sending them to a public school and like hoping that this isn't going to happen to them. Hell yeah, they should know about these stories, man.
It's a risk anywhere.
It is. I mean, you could be in a mall and this could happen. You could be in the grocery store. You could be in a library. You could be in a school. You don't know when this stuff is going to happen. So you at least need to have some kind of, you know, alertness as to what you should do in a certain dangerous situation. You can't totally rely on fight or flight.
All right, go ahead and read this. This is from the Ohio Plain Dealer. It's a huge newspaper there, local paper. The Plain Dealer. If you want to read this.
Gunmen walked up to the table, shot students from behind. The chilling actions of a teenager as he systematically shot Chardon High School students sitting at a cafeteria table were captured by surveillance video at Chardon High School, which also showed the chaos afterward.
All right, so the following clip for you guys on YouTube, you're going to see some of the footage For you podcast listeners, you are going to hear the actual 911 calls. I got 2 that I'm going to play back to back that came in about this case. So I'm going to play those now.
Lock it down.
Hi, Chardon High School. We had shots fired, gunshots, multiple gunshots. Multiple gunshots? Yes. Do you know where? I want to say over by the gym. Gym? That's where it sounded like it came from, gym cafeteria area. Oh. By the gym cafeteria? Yeah. That's what we're thinking. Okay. Thank you. High school. Okay. Bye. Bye. This is Chardon High School calling. We are in lockdown. We need assistance right now. Okay, we're patient. There's a student with a gun. 911, what's your emergency?
Hey, this is Principal Chardon again.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hey, the alleged shooter ran out the back door down the easement towards the tennis courts past the pool.
Towards tennis courts. Okay.
All right.
Okay, do you have any description of clothing?
We have white T-shirt, shaggy dark hair.
All right, Nicole, did you since you were watching the video, did you see the suspect getting arrested?
I think so.
Yeah.
They were patting him down.
Yeah,
I'm assuming that was him.
exactly.
Yeah. I was pointing to see if that's what I was watching. Yeah.
Yeah, so the suspect was actually arrested right outside the school, and he was actually sitting down on the curb. And
Like just waiting for them to come?
Yeah, waiting for them to come. And then
That's very odd.
And then the officer came up and arrested him. I'll put that video and that little clip of him getting arrested on talkmurder.com, so be sure to go there if you guys want to see that. Those were a couple of the 911 calls that came in about the case and the response of the students. They were walking out. So if you're looking at this, these are the victims of tonight's story. The 3 on top, which I'm going to actually get into in detail, those are the deceased victims. So on February 27th, the shooter shoots 6 students. 3 at the top there are deceased. 2 wounded and hospitalized. 1 is permanently paralyzed, which you're actually going to be seeing a interview with him.
Wow.
We're going to see that. God. But the 3 at the top there, what you're looking at now, is the deceased victims. And I'm going to go over them one by one. Go ahead.
So did he went in, this happened at the cafeteria, and he targeted one table?
Exactly. And I'm going to get to that in a little bit. We're actually going to read the arrest report and stuff like that, and the charging documents. But yeah, he targeted one table. This is 7:30 a.m. in the morning, right when school gets in. I guess a lot of kids sit at the cafeteria.
Have breakfast.
Yeah.
You have breakfast at school?
Yeah. We do. Well, we didn't in Massachusetts, like they didn't. They have it like you could get like muffins and stuff out of the vending machine.
Yeah,
they didn't have like
muffins and bagels and stuff.
Oh,
and
really?
Down here they used to have full breakfast, eggs, grits, bacon. Now it's not like that because of COVID. But yeah, the students can get breakfast beforehand.
Man, that's like one of the things I miss about the military. Like we would go to formation, go work out, and then there would be we'd go to the DFAC, and which is like the cafeteria, the mess hall, and get. I mean, you get omelets, eggs, you can get whatever you want. And it was all carbohydrate based. So it was like a lot of potatoes and stuff like that. But I mean, you can get whatever you want.
Did you ever have SOS?
What?
SOS. It's like ground chip beef or beef chip beef with good white sauce and
that is not
or
a
like
thing.
ground beef.
I think that's a northern thing.
No, because my dad used to have it in the army. Did they stop serving it? They called it shit on a shingle.
Yeah, that is shit on a shingle.
Like Scrapple? Scrapple's
that's some Vietnam fucking meals right there.
Well, like you have chip beef and white sauce. And
we have like corn hash. We didn't have shit on a shingle.
It was so good.
It sounds like it was delicious. It is good.
It was
shit on a shingle, shit on my dick, and blood on my shank.
Like honestly, it's delicious. I love me some SOS. Man, it's good.
What the fuck are you talking about?
I just quoted
Pee-wee
my favorite
Gaskins.
dude ever. Yeah, Pee-wee playing with his pee-pee.
You know what? I just reminded me of this story when we're talking about school shootings. One Tree Hill. The episode-
God. You know what? Fuck Peyton, man.
No, I love Peyton.
Fuck Peyton.
Why?
Because she left.
No, it's not that. She's all like emotional.
So what?
So moody.
What do you
Everyone's
mean? So
moody
what?
in high school.
Okay,
you
you're
think that
hot.
Lucas should have ended up with Brooke?
Are you going to get with me? What's the deal with? No, Brooke is my girl. You better take that back.
Then what do you
remember? Brooke's like. Can you cut this?
No.
Should Brooke herself? Is that
No.
What's Brooke's real name?
Sophia?
Sophia.
Is she still acting?
Yeah. Yeah.
Brooke, if you're listening.
He would
Sophia
leave me,
Bush.
apparently.
Brooke.
Sophia Bush.
Call me.
I think that Lucas and Peyton belong together, and
I agree.
I loved me some Nathan Scott though.
Yeah.
James Lafferty. But the episode where Jimmy shoots up the school and Keith dies. Oh my God, I cried so hard.
That's the new season.
No, it's not.
No, that was still when they were in high school.
Yeah.
I bought 6 seasons of that, or 7 or 8 on
I have
DVD.
I have all of them on DVD
I
currently.
love you for that.
That I want to bang one of the cast members?
No, that you proudly owned seasons 1 through 6 of One Tree Hill,
I
and
have
you say
them.
it proudly.
I have them currently at my house.
It's a good show, man. This is victim number 1. Can you describe this kid, 17-year-old kid?
He is just a kid.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got to be what, 17? I mean, he, like I said, he looks obviously young. We know he's in high school. Young African American male.
Now I'm pulling all of these victim profiles from the News Herald, and I'll link to that on talkmurder.com. But this is Demetrius C. Hewlin. He was born March 8th, 1995. He died February 28th. So actually the next day, he died in the Metro Health Medical Center in Cleveland. He was a junior in Chardon High School. He was known as D by his friends, obviously, Demetrius. He was a bodybuilder in training, I guess, if you want to say. He worked out 5 days a week, and he actually donated a lot of his time at the Habitat for Humanity, the resale shop in Newberry.
Okay.
So, and that's all I could find on him. Here is the next victim right here. This is also from the News Herald. What you're looking at is a white male, 17 years old, kind of shaggy hair, good-looking kid. He was born August 12th, 1994. He was a lifelong resident of Chardon, a junior. He was studying alternative energy at Auburn Career Center. Excuse me, I forgot to mention his name. His name is Russell D. King Jr. He worked at Amberwood Kennels in Hartsgrove as a dog caretaker. So he's very passionate about animals. He was also an avid outdoorsman, fishing, hunting, camping, canoeing, and participating in tractor pulls. You guys know what a tractor pull is?
Mm-hmm.
No.
What?
It's a tractor competition.
Tractor racing.
No. It's where you kind of modify a tractor, a lot of old tractors, and see how much you can pull with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, tractor
Okay.
competition.
Anyway, I'm putting all these photos on talkmurder.com. Here is the next victim here. This is Daniel Vincent Parmentier. They call him Danny. He was born September 9th, 1995. He was a junior. He enjoyed working with computer networking at the Auburn Career Center in Chardon. He enjoyed Xbox, skiing computers, and spending time with his family. These are the just a little bit of details about the victims. Now, one thing about this whole victim, all the deceased victims here, is they were all really good friends. So they were all sitting at this one table.
And that's kind of what I was thinking at first. So it was one table. Was it purposefully that table, like those individuals? Or was it totally random?
That's a great question. The shooter claims, as you'll see, that it was totally random. However, the one of the victims, the paralyzed guy that we're going to be watching the interview, he actually claimed that he didn't know about this. I mean, I guess, memories get faded, but his mother used to babysit the shooter, and they actually used to play, as small children. This is not a huge town. So everyone kind of knew this guy, the shooter.
So it's not like the shooter was being bullied or had the perception that he was an outcast by these students or something like that.
Well, what I noticed is the initial news media and all the papers that came out across the nation delivered by the Associated Press. That's how it works. So you have a town like Chardon that gets shot up. Then the Associated Press delivers kind of a standard news briefing to all the papers across the nation, kind of like an affiliate or whatever.
Like the Associated Press type thing?
What the fuck? That's literally what I'm talking about.
He said it's the Associated Press. Oh my God.
Good morning, Jen.
Sorry, I dissociated for a second.
Glad to have you back.
I dissociated for a second. I'm sorry.
Like you sounded so seriously. I wasn't sure if you were making a joke about it.
Anyway, so the initial news reports all claimed that he was an outcast, he was bullied, all this stuff. But the shooter himself, admitted that he was not bullied. It was random, even though a lot of people believe it was targeted. He's never actually came out and released a true motive, but we'll get into that in a second. Now, Nicole, what you're reading now is from the Court of Appeals for this case right here.
In the Court of Appeals, 11th Appellate District, Geauga County, Ohio. The video taken from a security camera in the school cafeteria shows that on February 27, 2012, at about 7:30 a.m., appellant is sitting alone at a table in the cafeteria with his book bag on the table. He watches a group of 8 to 9 students who are talking to each other at a table nearby. Appellant then moves to a table directly behind this group of students and continues to watch them. One of these students, Nick Walzak, is standing at the end of the table and the others are seated, some with their backs to the appellant and others facing in his direction.
Yeah, that's great. You pronounce his name right, Walzak. Mm-hmm. I was calling him Wozniak at first because, the Steve Jobs. And
Wozniak?
Whatever, assholes. All right, this is the gun he was using right here. It's not the exact gun. I mean, it's the exact model, but it's not the actual gun.
It's an interesting looking gun.
It has a thin barrel. What's the caliber?
It's a what?
What caliber is that?
This right here is the Ruger Mark III Target rimfire pistol. And this gun was actually stolen from the shooter's uncle who was visiting him the day before. He also stole a handful of bullets and 2 magazines. Now, he only used 1 magazine during the shooting. He shot 10 bullets, which was full capacity for the magazine. So he shoots 10, then he tries to reload. He only has 1 gun. And as he's reloading, he pulls out a knife to protect himself in case anyone rushes. And he reloads the pistol, but by that time, everyone is already scattered and ran out. So he runs out, as you're about to see, of the cafeteria, and then he gets arrested quickly after.
Now, I have a question about the firearm. It looks like that barrel is a little bit longer than a typical handgun. Is that typical of a Ruger, or is that, it's thinner and longer?
Yeah, let me go ahead and read the description from Bass Pro Shops. This is about the Ruger Mark III Target rimfire pistol. So you hear the word target. This is a training rifle, actually. Simple, rugged, and affordable, the Ruger Mark III Target rimfire pistol continues the legacy created by Ruger Standard, Mark I, and Mark II pistols with today's engineering advancements. The Mark III's internal cylindrical bolt construction design delivers higher accuracy potential than conventional moving slide designs by ensuring permanent alignment. There's no actual slide. When you see in movies, they're like, pull the slide back. Mm-hmm. You don't see that here because it's fixed. So the magazine goes in and then it feeds the bullets, and you don't have to cock it, basically.
Interesting.
Durable stainless steel frame and a 5.5 bull barrel Fixed front and adjustable rear sights for accuracy shot after shot. Receiver comes drilled and tapped for Weaver-style scope-based adapters for easy mounting of optics. The smoothly contoured grip sports a natural pointing grip angle and checkered non-slip grip panels. Loaded chamber indicator provides visual and tactile indication when a round is in the chamber. Manual safety, magazine disconnect, and inconspicuous internal lock. The clip holds 10 and all 10 bullets were fired. So it's not a very large gun. This is a small caliber pistol.
In a sense, though, it's just what he had access to.
It's what he had access to, which is very fortunate, as you'll see.
Because it was not a...
Well, it's a target pistol.
He only had 2 magazines, right?
He only had 2 and they only used 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
he may not have been confident enough to reload.
Well, he tried to reload. He took out a knife, he said.
When you think of a school shooting, or like, Dylan Roof or something like that, they go in with a specific mission. They have all these guns. Or, for instance, the James Holmes story we just did, they have all these guns. They're trying to take as many casualties as possible. In this case, it seems right off the bat that it was more of a kind of a vengeance type of kill. Targeted, yeah.
To these kids?
Even though he claims it's not. But if you look at the gun he used, which was not a hugely powerful pistol, that's all he had access to.
Still enough to kill.
Exactly. But I'm saying if he would have used something bigger, it could have been more...
Even worse,
yeah. Exactly. And... so you look at someone like James Holmes, who went in there with the, assault rifle and the Glock. I mean, that is just a powerful...
He was decked out, ready to kill as many people as he could.
Look at the barrel. It's so small. This is a training pistol. This is what you
it's something I could handle okay.
Exactly, yeah. It doesn't have a big recoil and stuff like that, yeah. But it still is deadly. Yeah. Because there's 3 dead from this. And one boy, I guess, permanently paralyzed. So if you want to continue reading from the Court of Appeals.
So he's convicted.
He is convicted. He did plead not guilty by reason of insanity, but he did appeal, which is what you're reading now. He changed his plea to guilty, and he accepted all the guilty charges. That's what you're reading now. This is the appeal that he did. Okay, that's the court document. Okay. I'll link to all these court documents on talkmurder.com.
After watching these students for about 8 minutes, appellant goes through his book bag. He pulls out a handgun and a knife, stands, aims his gun at the group of students in front of him, and starts shooting. Appellant shoots Russell King in the back of the head. He also shoots Nick Walzak, who falls to the floor. Appellant then walks around his table and along the victim's table while repeatedly shooting at them. He shoots Demetrius Hewlin in the head and also shoots Daniel Parmator in the head.
Also shot in this was Nate Mueller and Joy Rickers. They both survived. And after he shoots his 10 rounds, he runs out of the cafeteria as well, which is where he got arrested at. Which also made me think a lot too, if you have a school shooting, I mean, how would you even know if the shooter didn't just throw the pistol or rifle or whatever down and just kind of blend in,
Well, that's where it would have to depend on your security system. Schools have been increasing, their security cameras,
but you would have to go review the camera.
You would have to review the camera.
I'm saying like someone blended in right there and goes with the masses, he could get away.
It could be hard to... I think they would eventually be able to track him down as long as there were video cameras or witnesses.
And if you're in a large crowd,
someone's going to see him.
Hopefully he wouldn't, get the majority of the crowd, and someone would be able to identify... Yeah. And you can kind of go based on the time that this happened and the area and look at the cameras. It's way more advanced than it was even when we covered the story about the gym mats. The camera systems are more advanced than they were back then, for sure.
Yeah, that story was crazy. It's a really good story, not a good story, but interesting case. Kendrick Johnson. A lot of people think he was murdered. I don't see it. But we don't see it.
Man, I changed my tune on that one. 5 minutes before we finished the episode.
And here's the thing with these, man, here's the thing with these episodes. Guys, I get a lot of comments and emails from families of the victims, all the time, right? And with those cases, it's hard because I'll get the emails that, just blast me and try to call me all kinds of names, and this was my whoever. I mean, it's hard, but I try to look at it objectively the best I can.
You do a ton of research and don't go by just the headlines.
I mean,
so
the only one I'm still really not sure about is that Davina Buff.
Yeah. Oh man.
Is that the one on the island?
Yeah. I think about that one. Bald Head Dead. Ooh.
Yeah. So the episode's called Bald Dead. Bald Head Dead or something.
No, Bald Dead.
It was requested by Lauren, one of our good friends. And that story, I honestly don't know if she was murdered or suicide. It's really hard to tell.
Yeah,
that is the only one that has really stuck with me. All the rest, though, even the Ellen
Greenberg
case where she was stabbed 47 times.
Yeah, that one was fascinating too.
Yeah,
we've covered some really great ones. Anyway, those are my favorite kinds of cases.
Yeah,
Phoebe's Fall.
So he was arrested by Deputy Billikick around 8:30 a.m. He was just sitting on the side of the road.
So this happened before school even started.
Yeah,
in the morning.
In the morning,
breakfast.
before school even started. And I'll get to why he was there.
And
because he wasn't even a student.
What?
Yeah. So he wasn't even a student.
I just expected he was. Just assumed he was a student.
No, he is of age to be a student, and he was.
Did he withdraw from the school?
No, I'll get to that in a minute.
Well, can I just interject real quick?
Yeah.
I just think that if there was a time for something as tragic as this to happen, it's fortunate that it didn't happen when the cafeteria was more populated, like during lunch or even after school. When you're coming to school, kids don't always hang out in the cafeteria. They could go to their first period class. They could be in the hallways.
I never did that.
What?
In my school, hung out at the cafeteria in the morning.
I didn't. Yeah, but
I mean, then again, I was usually late. I missed first period all the time.
It depended on what time.
I'm also not surprised.
Depended on what time I got to school. Like if I got to school early, I would go to the cafeteria. If not, then I would go right to first period.
I usually wake up 9:30, 10.
If I
Shit.
The only time that I would go, which I wouldn't be there at 7:30 anymore, is when I was a senior and had a free period in first period.
Oh, for study hall?
You could go in. You could technically skip first period if you wanted because you had a free.
You can skip first period.
We still
had a free period.
No, we still had to be there if we had a study hall. We had to. They took attendance. We had to be there.
We did not.
We got to leave early.
We got to peace.
In senior year, we got to leave early if we had study last period.
Yeah, we got to do both. So that would be the only time I'd be there in the morning is if I had a free and I got there way early. Grab bagel.
Did you have the little refrigerated bagels?
Yeah,
the little you had to pull the thing open and sometimes it gets stuck and it's like, where's my money? And it's like, I don't know.
So the shooter runs out and was arrested by Deputy Billikick around 8:30 a.m. He was just sitting on the side of the road when the deputy walked up to him. He said, quote, he just shot people at the high school, end quote. 2 sheriff detectives interviewed him, and he said that he rode to school on the school bus at 7 a.m. that morning. He had the gun in his book bag. He admitted that he planned on shooting people that day, and he even admitted to putting the knife in his book bag that they found in case he needed to stab someone. Now, this is the shooter right here. This is right after he was arrested. Can you describe this photo for our podcast listeners, and also go to talkmore.com if you would like to see this killer?
He has a shirt that says killer on it.
Yeah, he wore a shirt to school that said killer on it.
He literally wore that the day of the shooting.
Yeah, he wore that the day of the shooting. That's the shirt he was wearing.
Wow.
What?
Yeah, he wore that on the day.
I'm assuming that the police officers that are questioning him were like, let me take a picture. I need to take a picture of this for
Well, they
evidence."
did take a picture. There's a picture right there.
I know, but I'm saying, like, it's not like he did this at home.
No, they
He's
always take a
clearly
picture
in
of the guy. I mean, there is an interview that is recorded, but obviously at the time he was 17 years old. So that wasn't released to public. And it's still not up. I tried to find it everywhere. Couldn't find it.
He's a very tall, lanky kid, brown hair, kind of like sullen,
Yeah.
looking.
So he is wearing a shirt that says Killer, bold letters, all uppercase. He actually bought that shirt 1 week before the shooting, he admits.
Where did he buy it?
I don't
Probably
know.
Hot Topic.
Did he like
I was
custom
about
make
to say
it?
that. Or Spencer's Gifts. Yeah.
That's weird.
And he wore that shirt because he knew he was going to be shooting people that day. He planned this whole event about 2 weeks in advance.
Did you know that Hot Topic and Victoria's Secret are the same company?
Interesting.
Or is it Hot Topic and... No, it's not Hot Topic and Victoria's Secret.
Oh,
it's
God.
Hot Topic and...
This is like the Al Sharpton thing. I don't know if I can ever listen to you guys again.
I think they're
Did you
the
know
same...
Al Sharpton's dead? Okay, yeah, I guess.
It may be like the same company that owns limited brands, perhaps.
It's the same company that owns Torrid. Torrid and Hot Topic are owned by the same company. I think I'm thinking of Bath and Body Works. Bath and Body Works and Victoria's Secret are owned by the same company.
Jen, there's a thing in journalism called credibility. Okay.
I'm telling you, Bath and Body Works and Victoria's Secret are definitely
And the
connected,
more-
just like Old Navy and Gap are
the more
connected
you
in
make
Banana
it-
Republic.
There's a reason why I do a lot of research on these episodes, because I know every small mistake I make, which, hopefully
you
I
can
don't
cut
make
this
any.
You can cut this whole dialogue to
Al
just to make sure.
Sharpton is still alive.
I thought he was dead, okay?
We will
sorry.
never live that down.
I apologized. I apologized to the Reverend. Did you know that he ran for president?
I don't fucking know. I'm going to look it up, though,
Go
after
ahead.
you said it.
He hosted Saturday Night Live while he was running for president, and he was.
and you thought he died?
I thought he died this year. I thought I read somewhere that
Well,
he died.
all right.
But Larry King did die. I read that the other day.
Larry King died?
Yeah,
He
like
just
last
died.
week. Yeah.
Yeah.
So did
Really?
Cloris Leachman.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to have to look this stuff up.
Actually, so did someone from Saved by the Bell.
Stop getting
Dustin
your freaking...
Diamond.
No, what?
Screech.
Yeah, he just
Screech
died. He was 44. He had
He had,
cancer
he had
for
lung
4
cancer.
weeks. He just was diagnosed 4 weeks ago.
He had a sex tape.
Ew.
Ooh.
I remember watching some weird video of him.
A sex tape?
No, not a sex tape, but it was him trying to save his house. So
From
obviously
fire?
he's broke, and he was he did a fundraiser where he
That sucks.
I know. I mean, he was kind of crazy. I mean, think about it.
Well, he was
Screech,
on
though.
that. He was on that show with Dr. Drew with the Celebrity Rehab or something,
Oh, was
right?
he?
Remember? Wasn't he?
I mean, it's
I
sad,
don't
dude.
know.
All these people are dying. Did he die of COVID?
no,
No,
he had
lung
cancer.
Did any one of those people die of COVID?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I'm not going to comment on that. All I can know is Al Sharpton is alive.
All right, well.
I thought he was dead, but he is not. I apologize at the end.
We are looking for a in-house researcher that on the spot verifies all this stuff.
It's called
Jen Collins fact checker. Fact checker.
we can just Google this shit as it comes up, you know. Appellant said that about 7:30 a.m. he switched the safety off the gun. He then pulled his pistol and knife out of his book bag. He stood up and, while aiming at the group, fired all 10 rounds in the clip. He realized he needed to reload his gun, so he ran out of the cafeteria. Appellant said that he left the cafeteria and an adult monitor started to follow him, so Appellant spun around and aimed his gun at him so he would not chase him. Appellant then ran down the hallway and exited the building.
So who he's talking about, the coach of the school, and I didn't really get into it in this presentation, but the coach was considered the hero. He is the one big burly guy. He chased out TJ Lane, the shooter.
So
out.
he never got to reload.
He never got to reload. He did reload outside of the school, but by that time he was so far away from everyone that he didn't.
He wasn't going to go back in.
Exactly.
Got it.
Yeah, because I don't think he planned anything very well. He did He did know he was going to do this for 2 weeks.
It was almost like he didn't, but he couldn't have had the gun if his uncle wasn't visiting.
But maybe he knew his uncle had the gun. And
Yeah, he knew his uncle
planned.
had the gun
And was
he
gonna come visit.
Exactly. So he planned it that far out. But like, if you go back to James Holmes, which was very meticulous, where he had. I mean, he went to the gun range and trained with the rifles he was going to use. He set up his whole apartment to be detonated, which we really didn't get into. Booby trapped. He did all this stuff in preparation that was months and months and months. This guy, most people will look at this and say it was a rush job. He didn't really have a definite plan. He just it was kind of like an outcast that just wanted to take vengeance on the popular kids. Almost, I mean, that's what it basically the story is, as we'll get into it in a second. So yeah, he did reload the clip, and then he waited silently by the road, and you saw that clip of him getting arrested by the cop. In the interview, TJ says he had no problems with anyone. This is the initial interview. He had no bullies. No one was bullying him. He wasn't even a student there, so he's not getting bullied.
Was he in school?
Well, yeah, I'm going to get to
okay.
that. He just, quote, this is what he said, quote, created this goal and needed to see it through, end quote. He thought about this for 2 weeks, and he chose a group of random kids, which a lot of people think it wasn't random because one of the guys at the table was actually dating one of his ex-girlfriends. And a lot of the media says, oh, they just broke up a couple weeks ago. But
when he started planning the thing?
Yeah, but the victim that you're going to hear the interview from said he wasn't dating her for years. So,
but still, that's a tie.
Yeah, exactly. And he did shoot that one table, and they were all friends. Like, these are all friends with each other.
Right.
Yeah.
You don't just have breakfast with somebody who is a stranger.
Yeah.
You don't?
This is what he said. Quote, he aimed at their heads so they would die quicker and not suffer, end quote. I feel like, man, I love first-person shooters. I play them all the time, but, man, I think this shit is coming into these kids' brains, man. Because you always aim for the head and they shoot like Doom and stuff. If you aim for the head, you kill the zombies quicker. I'm not saying video games cause this shit, but I don't know, man. I mean, who says that? I was trying to aim for the head. Like, I mean, come on, this is 17 years old.
Yeah.
Anyway, if you want to describe him here, this was a picture he posted on his social media.
Oh, skinny.
Yeah.
Oh my God, he's super skinny, super scrawny.
Super scrawny, yeah.
Trying to look tough, but he doesn't.
Is he photoshopped?
I mean, he's not photoshopped.
No, like the background.
No,
Doesn't he look like he's...
This is Ohio. He's not a bad-looking kid, as you'll see, and...
He's like gaunt, though.
What he was...
Like,
is he a swimmer? He looks like he's a swimmer.
No, he's not a swimmer. He's honestly, and this sounds insensitive, but he's malnourished. He comes from a really shitty family.
He looks very...
Which we're going to talk about.
His cheeks are very sunken.
But this is Thomas Michael Lane III. Everyone calls him TJ. I'm assuming because he is the junior, so TJ.
Tom Jr., yeah.
Tom Jr. He was charged with 3 counts of aggravated murder, 2 counts of attempted aggravated murder, felonious assault. He pled not guilty on the reason of insanity, but he changed his plea on February 26, 2013, which was 1 year later, to guilty, and he accepted all the guilty charges that he faced. Because at first he pled insanity and said he was having delusions and all this stuff, but then he went out and said that he was fooling all the mental health professionals and he was making up all this stuff where he was seeing stuff, stuff like that.
What a dweeb.
He was 17 years old at the time of shooting. Now, this photo you're going to see right now, I'll put this on talkmurder.com. This actually is eerily similar to the Virginia Tech shooter, which I haven't covered the story, but he has a photo that looks almost exactly like this stance. I don't know if y'all remember that photo of the Virginia Tech shooter. Let me pull him up.
I don't really remember.
Wait,
I remember
that
what
doesn't look like the same kid.
Yeah, it's the same kid. It is when he was young.
Oh.
The time of the shooting, he was 17 years old.
Is that? I wonder if that's his uncle's gun in his right hand. That looks like that same gun. Yeah.
Yep.
Now, this is also a photo of him. He was not a student at Chardon. He was previously, but not anymore. He was actually a student at Lake Academy, which was an alternative school, or is an alternative school, in Willoughby for at-risk youth, for addicted youth, and for youth that is and has been abused.
Oof. So what, did he have an abusive childhood?
Yeah. Every morning, the bus comes, picks him up. The bus takes him to Chardon High School. He waits in the cafeteria till 7:30 a.m. At this point is when he started shooting. But on a normal day, he would hop on another bus that goes to the Auburn Career Center in Concord Township. And from there, he would take a final bus to Lake Academy. Lake Academy is an alternative school, but it's also a work school. So you can work half the time, go to school. I don't think we have this down here, but it's a way for someone to make a kid to make money, extra money for himself and for his family, and go to school.
We do kind of, I mean, in our school district, we have the career school, which you kind of, it's different than a work school. You learn the skills necessary to earn, certificates and licenses and things like that. So that's probably similar to the Career Academy. We also have alternative schools, but those aren't work schools either. But those are more for like students who have been expelled or suspended, or who are at risk and things like that. So
if you see this photo right here, you can tell he's not a terrible look. I mean, he's not a bad looking kid. And actually, a lot of people were really shocked by this. A lot of the students that knew him previously, a lot of people said he was a really nice kid. He was, and before he got to high school, he actually had a lot of friends. He was extremely popular. But within the last few years, he started socially isolating himself and becoming a outcast, from what all the media sources say. And here's a quote from one of the students here talking about her experience with him.
Tora Lynn Lacassie deliberately gravitated toward him because she noticed that all the kids made fun of him, and I just wanted to get to know him, CNN reported. He turned out to be a really great person, said Lacassie, adding that he was constantly picked on at school for everything from his hair and clothes to his silent demeanor. He wouldn't say anything. He'd just look at the ground and take it and kind of laugh about it. You can laugh about it, but it still hurts.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
yeah,
kids are terrible.
They are.
What you're looking at now is just another social media
He
post.
almost looks like Justin Bieber in that.
Oh,
just
yeah.
like you can't see his hair.
Very skinny face.
But he's like not an unattractive
That's what I was
kid.
saying. Yeah. It's not...
I wouldn't...
Dylan Roof with the bowl cut, I'm not trying to make fun, but... he's
a terrible person. He deserves to be
He's a
made fun
terrible
of.
person.
He deserves
but
to
I'm
die.
saying,
Yeah.
what I'm trying to say is this
I said he
kid...
deserves to be made fun of.
What I'm trying to say is this kid, TJ Lane, doesn't look like a school shooter. In my opinion.
He doesn't look like he would be at the...
He looks like he'd be a popular kid.
You
I'm
can't-
saying.
Yeah.
So a
You
lot of people
can't-
do think that it was bullying, but...
You can't qualify a school shooter
Yeah,
on looks.
I know.
You really can't. It could be anyone.
Well, we didn't have school shooters
but
when I was in
wouldn't-
school either.
I
that wasn't
wouldn't
a thing.
have assumed, oh yeah, he's getting picked on because he looks different, or he's got acne, or he's got whatever.
All right, let's get on with this. All right, so he was living with his maternal grandparents at about 3 years old. What you're seeing now is a photo of him taking a selfie with the camera in a mirror. He looks like a normal kid. This right here is his piece of shit father. Looks just like him. Wife beater. This child's mother, Sarah Ann Nolan, apparently cannot control the use of alcohol and has a tendency to become extremely violent. And the defendant is in fear of his child's welfare. That's from the attorney Robert R. Wantz. This was actually at the divorce proceedings and the split up, what do you call it? We split up the child.
Custody hearings
On July 21st, 1995. So obviously he was just a kid at that point. Anyway, if you want to read this, I know it's kind of hard to read, but this is what he posted on his Facebook page.
Oh my God, that's a long
December
post.
30th, 2011. So this is a few months before the shooting, but I kind of wanted to post this because I wanted people to think, is there warning signs about this? If you see a post like this from one of the students, is it a warning sign?
I tried to look for keywords in that post. Are you going to read the whole thing, Nicole, or?
Do you want me to read the whole thing?
Yeah, if you can read it kind of fast, though. Fast pace.
In a long time since, a time of repent, the Renaissance, in a quaint lonely town sits a man with a frown. No job, no family, no crown. His luck had run out, lost and alone. The streets were his home. His thoughts would solely consist of, why do we exist? His only company to confide in was the vermin in the street. He longed for only one thing, the world to bow at his feet. They, too, should feel his secret fear, the dismal drear. His pain had made him sincere. He was better than the rest, all those he detests, within their castle so vain, selfish and conceited. They couldn't care less about the peasants they mistreated. They were in their own world. It was a joyous one, too. That castle she stood, just to do all she could to keep the peasants at bay, not the enemy away. They had no enemies in their filthy orgy, and in her, the castle's every story was just another chamber in Lucifer's laboratory. The world is a sandbox for all the wretched sinners. They simply create what they want and make themselves the winners, but the true winner, he has nothing at all, enduring the pain of waiting for the castle to fall. Through his good deeds, the rats and the fleas, he will have what he pleads, through the eradication of disease. So to the castle he proceeds, like an ominous breeze through the trees. Stay back, the guards screamed, as they were thrown to their knees. Oh God, have mercy, please. The castle, she gasped, and so imprisoned her breath to shallow confines of her fragile chest. I'm on the lamb, but I ain't no sheep. I am death, and you have always been the sod, so repulsive and so odd. You never even deserve the presence of God, and yet I am here. Around your cradle I plod, came on foot without shod. However improper, how rude. However, they shall not mind the mud on my feet, if there is blood on your sheet. Now feel death not just mocking you, not just stalking you, but inside of you. Wriggle and writhe, feel smaller beneath my might, seizure in the pestilence that is my scythe. Die, all of you. It was quite the poetic verse.
Yeah, so the media, they just put that one last line, die, all of you, and that's their headline.
Yeah.
But what do you think? You see that as a student, this is a couple months before the shooter. You think is that a warning sign if you see one of your students that write that?
Yeah, I would definitely be concerned about it. We would definitely look into it. Well, I guess it would depend on the context of which, what his social media looked like in general, but I would definitely talk to the kid and be like, hey, like, what is this
Well, he
post
also
about?
posted that gun photo and stuff like that.
Well, yeah, I mean, absolutely.
But do you have access to your students, or
no, we don't have access to their social media. However, most of the time if someone posts something troubling,
it's reported.
It would be reported by another student.
Yeah. And guys, we're Nicole and I are completely off social media altogether. I feel great. Maybe you guys should think about it.
It's actually probably the best thing that I've never been happier that I did it.
I don't really go on social media as much. I mean, like, I don't post as much. The one social media that I'm like on a lot is TikTok, and that's like watching videos. I don't really make that much content anymore, but I'll go on TikTok, and that's my guilty pleasure right now.
All right, we got to get on with this. If you want to read this, Nicole, this is some more about his home life.
Like many of the students there, the home life for TJ was far from peaceful, within the father, Thomas Lane Jr., boasting a history of domestic violence against women, according to court records. He had been arrested numerous times for incidents that showed increasing levels of ferocity and may well have been abusive against his son as well. They subsequently split up, after which Thomas Lane went on to be charged with assaulting a police officer and then served prison time for attempting to suffocate his next wife, after he held her head under running water, then bashed it into the wall so hard that it left a dent. Estranged from his father and half-twin sisters, TJ lived with his grandparents and remained close to his aunts, who sat by his side in court on Tuesday for the juvenile detention hearing.
TJ actually wanted to study psychology in college, and if you read the interview, because the actual video of the interview is not available, but if you read the transcript, he kind of had his life planned out, where he was talking about still going to college and doing psychology. So it's kind of interesting, because we just did the James Holmes story, who was also interested in psychology.
Neuroscience, yeah.
Neuroscience.
Nate Mueller, who was sitting with King and had a bullet narrowly graze his head, described Lane as a quiet kid. Freshman year, he got into a goth phase and didn't talk to that many people anymore. He never egged anybody on. He just went about his business, explained Mueller, who revealed that the group had been friendly in middle school, but had gone separate ways since moving up to high school.
This video is what makes this case most notable, what you're about to watch now.
Okay.
And I'll describe it for the podcast listeners as it happens, but go to talkmore.com if you would like to see this. You definitely want to see what makes this case so unique, and that's this video right here. I'll also transcribe what is said after this, because he is in court, and like the law says, even the killer, the one that is being tried, has the right to speak, and he does speak, and this is what he says, and I'll tell you what it is here in a second, because you probably can't understand it. So he is walking into the courtroom right now. He is sitting down by his lawyer. He is buttoning his shirt. He's got a polo shirt on. He's unbuttoning it while he's talking to his attorney.
That's so, like, anti-court apparel, though.
Exactly, and just keep watching. The attorney really doesn't notice what he's doing or anyone else, but...
The County Court of Common Pleas is now in session. The Honorable David L. Fury presiding.
Please be seated.
Everyone's sitting down. Now, if you want to tell me what his shirt says.
I can't see it, but he's wearing a white t-shirt.
Yeah, it's going to zoom in.
This is the case of the State of Ohio against Thomas M. Lane, case 12C58.
It'll zoom in a second.
On behalf of the State of Ohio is Prosecutor James Flays. Mr. Flays, could you please introduce your table?
Here we go.
Thank you, Your Honor.
What does the shirt say?
Killer.
Killer. So he's wearing a shirt, white t-shirt.
Prosecutor, and from the Lake County Prosecutor's Office, Karen Colwell.
Thank you, and you can make it from where you sit.
All right, just listen.
You can make it seated where you are.
He can make a statement. That's what the judge says. And he's about to make a statement to the victims' families. And here it goes.
Saying to pull the trigger that killed your son, now masturbates to memory of you.
All right, if you want to read this, Nicole, this is from the charging documents, but it has his quote at the end.
Ugh. This hand that pulled the trigger that killed your sons now masturbates to the memory. Fuck all of you. Whoa.
Yeah, so
this is in the appeal.
So he says, quote, from him, because everyone convicted is allowed to make a statement. Mm-hmm. The judge says, you can make your statement, but you have to do it in the seated position. You cannot come up to the stand. And the TJ Lane says, quote, this hand that pulled the trigger that killed your sons now masturbates to the memory. Fuck all of you, end quote.
If I was one of the parents of those deceased, I would have probably gone right up there and fucking strangled him.
Yeah, I would have tackled him.
It's awful, yeah.
Yeah, that's disgusting. I literally feel sick after hearing that. That is one of the worst things we have heard. If this is during the case that he's trying to plead insanity, I can understand why he may not really care about what he says to try to make a point. But I don't. That's not okay. That's not okay.
He's just trying to be a tough guy.
Who the fuck are you? You know? I literally feel sick to my stomach after hearing that. That's the worst thing I think that I've ever heard anybody say ever.
Yeah, I agree.
The way he said it too, and then he raises his finger.
He
flips him off. I think, and I know I literally just said this, but we see all of these cases where we don't necessarily see what the defendants have to say as far as a statement, or how many of them actually give a statement.
Probably not a lot of them.
And the fact that he literally had the balls,
apologize, right?
Yeah, or apologize. I'm sorry for my actions. I didn't realize whatever. Blah 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 blah. This is literally the worst thing that anyone has said in history.
To a victim's
family. That is disgusting.
Because you have three of the families in there of the deceased.
And you have...
Yeah, but you have all the families of the deceased.
A child that's paralyzed.
Exactly. And he says, quote, "The hand that pulled the trigger that killed your sons," he's talking to the family that's still alive, the sons are dead, "now masturbates to the memory. Fuck all of you," end quote.
Obviously this happened.
Jesus.
This happened eight, almost 9 years ago, and we have no relation to that crime, and I am offended.
I mean, dude, you haven't heard of this. It's a school shooting, and it's like there's so many that this one barely made the news. There's like no new news on this. It's fucking crazy.
Like you know where I stand on the death penalty, but I really hope that he's having a very unpleasant time in prison, and I hope that he has dropped the soap multiple times unintentionally and had a very unpleasant time in prison.
It's interesting. He's only 17, so
good. So he has longer to get fucked in the ass.
I know, but hopefully they still tried him as an adult.
I hope so.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Good.
This is Ohio, man. Ohio.
What a stupid motherfucker. Honest to God, this makes me so angry. Just that one statement just makes me so angry.
Okay, that's why I put...
It was almost like, okay, not like, okay, he's by no means was my head going there because he had a rough childhood. But it's almost like, oh man, like I get it. He was nurtured. He was in an abusive childhood. We've seen the movie before where like it causes a lot of mental distress.
I mean,
that reaction... uncalled for, no matter what your situation is.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Not only no matter what your situation is, but even if you're, like I said, I wonder if it was a ploy to like make people think that he's not right in the head to kind of get him to be found not guilty with insanity.
He recanted that not right in the head pretty quick. Anyway, let me turn this around for you guys because this is a tragic case, and that was pretty.
That's crass.
Disgusting. It is.
It's literally vomit inducing.
Yeah, it is. But let's kind of end this episode with some more positive news. Now this is Nick Walzak. He was shot 4 times. His mom actually used to babysit TJ Lane, but he doesn't remember that. He was paralyzed from his quote. This from Steve Wozniak. This from Nick Walzak. He says he was paralyzed from his quote nipple line down. All right, this is Rover's Morning Glory. This is a local radio station here. The DJs, a lot of people say they're kind of crass and kind of like Howard Stern, but I mean they're radio DJs. What the fuck do you expect? This is exactly what happened in his own words.
Well, I mean I head to school, and I'm sitting, or I'm not even sitting, I'm standing at the end of this table in the cafeteria, and the shooter, TJ Lane, he was sitting alone 2 tables behind us. And he didn't have, like, a ton of friends. Mm-hmm. He had a few, but we'd never really talked to him. There was no bullying involved, obviously. That was ruled out, like, the first few days. Mm-hmm. And he was 2 tables behind us. And I was talking to my buddy Nate, and all of a sudden I see him move a table closer. So he's like pretty much directly behind us. And I remember thinking, I was like, that's a little weird.
Because I knew he wasn't a student.
Why would that happen?
Yeah, why would he get up and just move one table? He's by himself. Why would he move one table over?
He's still sitting down. He gets up and he sits at another table sitting down.
Yeah. And then I look away for like 1 second, and I just hear a pop. And I turn around, and before I turn around, I'm like, okay, who's popping bags in here? You don't think it's a gun.
Yeah, right.
They never
and then all of a sudden, I mean, I'm going off what people told me right here, because people saw me. Like, someone was entering the cafeteria as soon as I was shot, and they saw like my face and everything, and my buddy Nate, who I was talking to, actually eventually jumped over me in the cafeteria, which I always make fun of him about, but I mean he's cool about it. All
right, this guy, I mean, super motivational. I definitely recommend you guys watching this. It's a whole hour long. Let's hear him talk about where he got shot specifically.
So where did you get shot exactly?
Well, I actually got it in and out of the arm, in my neck, right here, and it went. The bullet actually ricocheted up to my cheek,
Ooh.
And
Yeah, and he says, and I cut it there, but he says the bullet's actually still there, that they didn't pull the bullet out. Yeah, so the bullet's still there.
And so then you get shot in the back.
Yeah, I get shot in T1 region of my spine, and it's not like the movies where you gracefully fall on your knees and then you fall down, on your face.
Yeah,
it's like you just plop on the ground.
I bet. Yeah.
Yeah, and my book bag luckily flew over my head, and I slammed my face on my book bag instead of the ground. Yeah, because
Holy
you
shit.
don't think to put your arms up because you
He would have shattered his
just
jaw.
plop, like that. But
this is what his outlook on life is when he took those 4 bullets. He got shot 4 times.
How many people were passed away that day? How many people were killed?
3 of my buddies, Danny Parmator, Russell King, and Demetrius Hewlin.
So you knew all 3?
Yeah.
That's obviously the hardest part. I mean, that's worse than you being in a wheelchair.
Right.
Oh my God. Yes, Tom.
Is there a lot of people who are survivors? Do you have survivor's guilt? I know that's a hard question.
No, I try to look at it like I took 4 bullets without dying, and
50 Cent, man.
Yeah, you should become a rapper.
Yeah.
Screw video games.
well, I look at it like that could have been 4 bullets that saved lives.
Dude.
So, and if it takes me being in a wheelchair, but I saved 4 lives.
Oh my God.
I mean, I guess that's a positive way to look at it,
dude.
Yeah. So that's the way I try to look at it.
Niquee's tearing up.
Me to cry, man.
I mean,
That's
you
tough.
took 4 bullets. Like,
Man.
I know this doesn't mean much, but dude, as a veteran, combat veteran, man, I salute you, dude. Holy shit.
It's even more magnified knowing what that asshole just had said in the courtroom. Like, you have that versus what the person who was shot at 4 times and how he reacts to it.
If any of you know Nick, or Nick, if you hear this, just know that just
I mean,
you have our support. So.
Let's wrap this story up. If you want to read this right here, this is from the Springfield News Sun, September 2014.
Ohio school shooter built ladder in prison escape. Oh no.
He did escape prison.
Sounds like my dog escaping from my house.
Dude, I know. I want to say the police, everything, I mean, they did a great job, prosecutors, all that stuff, but why would you put this guy in a medium security prison? He is a school shooter, man. So he escapes from a medium security prison. I'm about to show you the video of the escape, by the way. But if
they have it on camera?
Yeah. If you want to read this.
The inmates were able to open a padlock on a door to the maintenance area. The report said they got into a maintenance access area described in the report as being similar to a crawl space where they built the ladder.
So they built a ladder and threw it right over the cage. It looks like a medium security prison. It looks like one of like a DJJ, detention juvenile prisons. They got the wire fence, but it's like, okay, well, if I really wanted to, if I put my mind to it, I could jump it, kind of shit. Like, man, this guy's a school shooter. Why is he in a medium security prison? Anyway, he was recaptured after 6 hours, which was really good. And, I mean, think about the victims, too. I mean, think about Nick. I mean, he's, they get the call real quick.
Oh, yeah.
And he's probably like, God, this guy coming to finish me or something. That was September 11th, 2014, medium security prison in Lima, Ohio. He wasn't actually charged with the escape at all. It didn't affect his sentence at all. Do you want to guess why? This is fucked up. Now, he wasn't charged because and I didn't know this, but it's the families that have to agree to charge or not charge, at least in Ohio. And they said, quote, and this was what the Springfield News Sun says, quote, he has no chance to be released, and the families of his victims, didn't want him to have an opportunity to mock them again, end quote. They didn't want to go back in court and have the guy being like, I masturbate still to you,
That's interesting that, they would still have to agree to it, even though that crime of his prison escape is completely unrelated.
Yeah. He was moved to a supermax, and this is the last video I got, is basically him and 2 other inmates escaping the prison here. I'll put this on talkmurder.com, And there's the last video for tonight. You can kind of see him run into the tulip patch, I think it was. You see him, the camera zooming in there. Anyone outside the gate? You see those two outside the gate?
Mm-hmm.
Those are the ones running. And then they split up. They basically went into the maintenance shed, built a ladder, and threw it over the fence.
So what was his sentence? I'm assuming you said that he was already not able to be released. So he was life in prison without the possibility of parole, I'm assuming?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's in life. He's never getting out.
Good.
Is there no death penalty in Ohio?
I don't think he got the death penalty, no.
The death penalty because of his age?
I didn't see anything where he got the death penalty. And another interesting fact about this is most cases, especially school shooting cases, you see updates, even if it's just a news station being like, oh, let's remember this that happened this many years ago or whatever. This one, it's like no news. The latest news was 2014, man. That's pathetic. That was 6 years ago and only because he tried to escape.
It's probably because I don't want to draw any attention to this prick.
I mean, yeah, maybe. That's a good point. I definitely recommend you guys checking out that Nick Walczak video. Very inspiring. It'll make you get your ass up and think about life a little differently. I know I'll watch the whole thing, probably watch it again, but very inspiring person there. All right, that is the story of TJ Lane. You guys can follow along at talkmurder.com. If you guys enjoyed it, go talkmurder.com/join. We just launched the Supremo Forum. We have 2 videos on there that are unlisted on YouTube that I put just for the Supremos. We're still building that program back up from the ground, so we don't have much there yet, but you can support us at talkmurder.com/join. My name is John. I'm here with Jen and Nicole, and until next time, good night, you lovely, lovely people.